I think Hollywood bets coming on board into racing in the way that they did here in KZN and now in the Cape with Greg Bortz. I think we've seen such change in the industry this year, positive change, and there's a sense of hope for a better future coming into 2023, and we've seen that with that last race meeting this last weekend. So yeah, I think what has been done is wonderful for the sport and not a moment too late.
Welcome to another edition of In the Box Seat, the final edition of 2022. Gives me great pleasure to introduce, definitely as always has to be ladies first, our good friend, colleague, TV supremo, I don't know what else, colleague, and just racing coffee maker, racing lover, Michele Wing into the studio. Michele, how are you?
Wonderful, Warren. It's great to be here. It's been a fantastic year, and there's lots to talk about in the podcast today.
Now, I got you a little
What
late.
about me, you want?
I'm getting there. Can you wait, please?
Jeez.
Sure, he's impatient in his old age. I was in the middle of saying I was a little late today.
Yes.
And you had the joy, or I don't know, the discomfort of having a cup of coffee with Grumps over here.
Yes, I did.
And I see he's come to town in his slops and his shorts. How was it?
It's bib and tucker on, hey? With our lunch coming up, I mean, you look spiffing, Andrew. You're going to really make a grand entrance when we go.
Not with a hat like that.
No, I got bollocked this morning as I walked out the door. My wife said to me, "You can't go to a restaurant in shorts and slops." I said, "Well, it's not Buckingham Palace."
Yeah.
Well, Ingrid's 100% correct. Well done, Ingrid. As I saw him this morning, I also insulted him and said, "You cannot go out in shorts and slops." If I'd known he was coming dressed like that, I would have also had shorts and slops.
But Warren, who do you think you are with your glasses? Clark Kent or something?
Absolutely.
Now?
I've got a. You should see me with my sunglasses on. I've got a very bright future. They tell me, so I wear sunglasses. I can see clearly now. I needed glasses. We're getting old now, but that pink top of yours is lovely, and Andrew's red shirt is excellent.
It's fantastic.
Now, before we go any further, Michele Wing is our guest, and we're going to have fun today, as we always do. It's the last podcast of the year. We'll give you all the information that you need to know. There's lots of news. There's lots of backtracking. But we want to learn a little bit about Michele Wing, because we've seen her work, we've seen her on TV, we've seen her on all the various television platforms, Teletrack, Racing 240, Gold Circle Television, and of course, more importantly, your work that you've been doing recently with all your lovely videos and your movies, and really been going wild on Facebook and YouTube. But let's, like I ask all the guests, how did it all start for you, racing and horses, and how did you find out about horses?
Well, I think actually, Warren, it's in my genes.
Okay.
Because my great-grandparents were horse breeders up in the northwest. They bred like a Boer Pat type of horse. And at the time, just humour me for a sec, the Second Anglo-Boer War, the Boers came along and commandeered all the horses off the farm. And they left a mare, a foal, and a sick horse. And my great-grandfather put his daughters into the bathroom and locked the door. Well, my great-grandmother got out the window, got onto the mare, rode 50 miles to O'Keepe, to the British garrison, to warn the British that the Boers were coming. And in those days, families were mixed. So my great-grandmother was Irish, and she married into the French Huguenot side, so kind of Dutch. But she warned the British, and the Boers arrived. The British were ready and waiting. They laid siege to O'Keepe, but 5 days later, the end of the war was declared. But the British then gave her a gold carriage clock, which is passed down now from the eldest daughter in each generation to the next daughter to the next daughter. So I have this sitting on my dressing table.
Sure.
So it goes back a long way, but my grandmother had horses here at Newmarket Stables. She used to ride on the beach. At the time, all the racehorses were trained. So I think it's kind of in my genes.
All right. Yeah, O'Keepe, that was Jan Smith's final
Exactly.
declaration, yeah.
Exactly.
So, it's been in your genes and your family and your blood for a long time, but you've also competed in dressage, and your daughter. Tell us about that, because the involvement in dressage.
Well, as youngsters back in the day, we all rode thoroughbreds, and that's how my own interest in thoroughbreds started. And in fact, I had a grey horse that was by Grey Sky, who was imported by Derek Southey at Kalefontein. Did very well on him, and my daughter followed me into the sport, and she then left after school to go to the UK to further her studies and also to compete over there. And she's now been there 6 years, finishing a PhD in sports science. And my son studied engineering. He's an aeronautical engineer with a group called Sling Aircraft in Joburg. Fantastic. It's a wonderful South African success story of two guys who got together, designed a plane, and now they produce and manufacture about 6 or 7 different models, sell them around the world. They manufacture about 16 planes a month. They assemble one a week here. Sure. The rest are exported. And they recently, a group of them, one was a Delta airline pilot, a woman. She bought one of the Slings, plus another person from America, and then one of the South Africans. They flew these 3 Sling aircraft, 4-seaters, from South Africa to Oshkosh, to the world's biggest air show. So they went across the Atlantic, and they followed the shipping lanes. So they went from Cape Verde across to Bridgetown. Took them 16 hours, and they had their
petrol to get across the Atlantic.
Oh, I can tell you a story about that. They took the 2 back seats out the plane, and they molded a special fuel tank. So they were literally like flying.
Backup fuel.
No, they needed it.
Okay.
But they were like flying bombs, literally going across the Atlantic. But Sling, they got there. They got to Oshkosh. It was fantastic. Sure. It's just. I think the adventurous spirit.
Yeah, but it's good South Africans. I mean, the South Africans are renowned for innovation.
Yeah, and for doing fun things and hard work.
Doing fun things, yeah. No, because I remember. I was trying to think of the American bloke who comes over for the July all the time. He was flying back from Hong Kong to cover the July, and he said in the plane, he knew exactly where the noise was coming from. All South Africans. He said they were just jawling.
Yeah.
Okay, and then obviously thoroughbreds have been part of your life for a long time, but racing, and how did you get sort of involved in the racing and in the presenting and because you're well known in the racing circles, you produce some fabulous work, and who did you meet? I mean, who was the first set of people that you met within horse racing?
Charles Fall. I was studying down at UCT. I did an honours in industrial psychology at the time, and my younger sister, who was also in Cape Town, she was a springbuck diver. Sure. And she was sponsored by Speedo, and Charles was commissioned to photograph her in a whole lot of Speedo costumes. And one thing led to another, and I met Charles, and I started writing for Charles, and then met Martin Locke, Andrew Bond, got involved in racing. Always had an interest in racing through thoroughbreds that we competed, as junior riders. And one thing led to another, and that's how I got involved. So it's something quite different to what I've actually studied. But I think like all of us in racing, we're passionate about what we do, and we're passionate about the sport. And that's why we're all still here, and we're all still trying to find a way forward for this beloved industry. Yeah.
But it's nice too. I mean, we sort of went through a lull. We had horses that were good and all that, but suddenly Charles Dickens has arrived, and now everybody's fired up again.
But that's what it's so fantastic, and that you're right. You need a good horse, and you're right. There's been some top horses, but this is really
special,
special. And
you only need one really good horse to bring the crowds to the track, and even impact a person's life, like Gaynor Rupert. What she said at Kenilworth, that this was the best day on a race course in her whole life. One horse, and she's bred many horses over the years.
Yeah, and she's been to Ascot and the Derby and everywhere else.
It was a huge statement. It was a great statement. Before we continue about Charles Dickens, you were talking about Charles Fall and now Charles Dickens, which has sparked my memory. Shane, yesterday did you see that horse of the late Charles Baker won, Red Magician?
Yes.
You remember
Yes,
Charles Baker, the
I
late
do,
Charles
yeah.
Baker, what a wonderful man. And Garth's speech was, fabulous, and sad that he wasn't here, Charles Baker, to see his horse win, Red Magician. Because you'd met him, or you'd spoken to him, I'm sure, a few times. Not really. You knew him well, eh?
I knew him,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
He was just such a knowledgeable person in
Yeah,
the industry
certainly
in
was.
terms of, bloodlines, news. We used him quite often. We would phone Charles and just say, can you verify this? Or have you got an image of this horse going back? He was always wonderful and so helpful.
He certainly was, yeah. Well, he would have been absolutely proud of Red Magician yesterday.
Yeah.
Now, you wanted to ask Michelle a question, or you had a remembrance.
Yes, I remember there. Yeah, you were at the July
Yes.
a couple of years back.
Yeah.
You arrived in your gown.
Yes. I was late.
But what, the dressing gown or her evening
Well,
gown?
a dressing gown. I don't know.
Coming
I don't know who
from
paid for that.
Coming from Maritzburg, I came out of the hairdressers late, and I had to get down to Durban in a hurry. So yes,
Did you
I
really
arrived.
have a dressing gown on?
No, of course I didn't.
I look like one.
It looks like that.
Thank you so much.
Now, that's
I
the
think
thing.
you need to wipe your eyes a bit, Andrew.
Because that's you wanted to. Now I wanted to ask you a question about. Well, that's not really a question; it's a memory. You had a memory. I had my best memory, one of my best memories of Michelle in action. Because you don't want to get on the wrong side of Michelle. It was the July Gallops. I'm not going to mention any names, but it was the July Gallops.
Oh boy.
And you were going about your business in such a lovely manner to get comments and do
Yes.
interviews. And she approached one trainer who doesn't train anymore, and wow, he was insulting towards her. But let me tell you, our colleague over here gave it right back and more. I was so excited. I even went to Michelle and said, "Well done, well done." So do you remember that day? I remember.
Yes.
That was your memory about her in her dressing gown at the races. This was when I saw Michelle in action at the races. Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed that.
But you see all these like these TV celebrities, they all come in dressed in funny clothes. They've obviously been sponsored. I mean, no normal people would walk around in those sort of creations. Like a woman, I watched the woman in that Australian cooking program, MasterChef.
Yeah.
She wears the funniest bloody clothes. I mean, surely she doesn't pay for those.
Do you know, I've been asked to wear some outfits that I would not have chosen to wear, but because they're sponsored, you just put a brave face
you're
on
right,
and
yeah.
you go for it. But I remember the one Summer Cup up in Johannesburg. I actually borrowed one of the crew members' jeans. I whipped off the dress because they had this base climbing, or whatever what do you call it? You go over the top of a building.
Base jump.
No, but you walk down the building with a rope, and they dared me.
Don't tell me you did it.
I did it,
Wait.
and they dared me to do it. So I whipped off the sponsored clothing, borrowed jeans and a t-shirt, and I went down. I went over the top and down the building.
You're
There was
still scared
enough-
of heights.
No, because I haven't finished my private pilot's license, but I've gone solo. I love it. I just love it. I come from a kind of aviation family and background, and I think that's where my son Jonathan gets it from as well.
Sure,
But
that's
that was enough adrenaline to last me for the rest of the race meeting, I must tell you.
Yeah.
Let's talk. So before you're not allowed to stand behind the scenes and laugh and carry on and not share what's your jokes with us.
Sorry, it's TikTok.
Okay, TikTok. TikTok. Have you got a TikTok account, Grumps?
No.
Not. Okay. Let us talk about a few things, because we want to reflect on this past year and some fabulous guests that we've had. And I just want to put a disclaimer out there. We don't know how many guests we've had exactly.
Well, it's one a week, so how many? 52.
Yeah, but we might have missed a week or two when you were in the game reserve fishing in the Kalahari, and all the multiple holidays that you go
So
on.
it's at least 50 then.
So we're not going to be able to list every single guest that we've had over the past year, but we're going to certainly try and get to as many as we can remember. We're getting old now. But
Speak for yourself.
Dr. Manfred Rower, top quality vet. Devon Heifer. You remember the one we had with Devon Heifer? I mean, what an informative podcast that was, with learning about
It was
Hollywood and how
wonderful.
they started.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
Stephen Chetty. He was also very informative. It was more recent. We had
Well, what about the one that you cheated, Greg Boards?
What do you mean I cheated?
Well, you went and collected a trophy. You didn't even tell us.
Where
Well,
were you that night, Andrew? Where were you that night?
Sleeping.
Yeah, you see?
Did you let him know, Warren?
No.
Of course I did, but I mean,
You didn't let me know.
it wasn't your award.
Andrew,
Hey, Tawanda, this is the boy.
Andrew, did he share this award with you when he got back to
Cut it in
Durban?
half. Can't cut it in half.
So, do you have it for 6 months, and then do you have it for the other 6 months?
He didn't even bring it to show everybody.
No, because I've sold it already.
Oh, okay.
I've needed a few pounds.
Which was possibly one of your most humorous podcasts that you've done?
Dennis
I would
Bosch.
say
Dennis.
Bosch. Yeah. He
Oh,
is so
wow.
informative and so funny.
Funny, yeah.
Dennis Bosch. Yeah. And also, you know who was very funny is it just come to my mind. It was MJ Woodendal.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Stories. MJ Woodendal, Dennis Bosch. They were probably the funniest. I would say.
They're good laugh.
The list goes on. Graham Hawkins, we've had Graham on, we've had the Crawford sisters, Anthony Delpeche, Neil Tovey, the soccer player, Warren Kennedy, champion jockey, Sipasisha Slingwa, young rider, Kiratita Kachetti, Tony Jelensky was more recent. I mean, that was also very funny and very informative. And Greg Bortz, that was the winning one. That was the winning one of 2022. I keep saying it's not 20, it's 20, isn't it? It's 20. No, it's not Twitter. It's Twitter. Do you agree? You must agree.
It's correct English, put it that way.
Yeah, which I'm told most of us don't know about. But anyway, Greg Bortz, that was the winning one. Greg Bortz, the Equus award-winning podcast, and that was really. Remember, we spent a whole morning with him. The podcast was only in 1 hour. We ended up spending 2 hours, 3 hours there because he was just so informative.
No, the grub was good too. Yeah.
And the grub was
I noticed
good,
you stuffed your face with bloody cheese scones.
Oh, it was there for you to eat. What more do you want me to do? Mike Shaw, the horse whisperer.
Patrick Shaw as well.
Patrick Shaw as well. Absolutely, that was also good. Patrick Shaw. That was almost like a TV series. We went to his home in Mount Edgecombe. The KZN Breeders cheer lady, Kathy Martin. Your mate, Peter Maritzburg Mayor, Rob Haswell, yeah, he had a good story to tell. Michelle Narak, Sean Veal,
Suzette
Viljoen, Monty Murray, Matthew Pregis and the Sunday. We've really had some good guests and some informative podcasts. When you look back on the year like we are now, it's been great.
Yeah, the best we had was John Mataung.
That's it. That's exactly.
He got 32,000 hits on his podcast.
Yeah, we had
That's
Tony
phenomenal.
Rivland. We had Tony Rivland as well. I laughed because remember Tawanda said we need to. What is Tony going to say? I mean, Tony speaks beauously. He knows how to speak.
You don't have to say anything.
No, you don't with
Just start
Tony
him up and
Rivland.
go.
Absolutely, just listen. So we've had some. Also, microphones. I don't know whether the microphones also need a holiday because sometimes they just collapse when you're talking.
Yeah. You know, with your podcasts, I think your support has grown exponentially this year. And I've got mates who will watch your podcast before they watch racing. I think they love the banter, and you bring such a sense of humor and lightheartedness to whatever topic it is that you're talking about. So if it's serious, you'll put another spin on it. And it's wonderful. I think people really relish it. And in times where I think life can get on top of one, things haven't been easy since COVID. I think your podcast actually gives people a sense of light-hearted relief.
Yeah, we try and be funny, but it doesn't always work.
Yeah, you know, and it's
not
we've
funny,
enjoyed
but I
it.
mean,
We've
we're just trying
enjoyed
to
it.
entertain
We've
you,
enjoyed it, and I think it's good. It's but we mustn't rest on our laurels because we've got to make plans for 2023. We've got to take it to the next level. I don't know how. Maybe when I'm looking at game in the Kruger National Park, we can think about what we're doing. But we've got to bump it up a bit. But I think you're right, it's just a casual, and you know how many guests come through and they get all nervous, and we say it's just a relaxed show, it's an informative thing, it's there for all to see, it's fairly long. I mean, I know we've had that argument, Andrew said it's way too long, Tawanda said it's not long enough. And those that want to watch the full episode, watch it. You want to skip along a bit, you want to, watch bits and pieces. I know some people put it on in the background while they're doing their work. And listen, so it's just, I think it's good for everybody, and there's too much fighting and negativity, and we try and have a bit of fun. I think that's the right one. You're the right person because you are so grumpy, you're easy to pick on. Now,
No comment, Andrew.
yeah, no comment.
No comment.
It's not often that we can shut him up like that. Now the next thing is we've got some questions that we want to fire away. Now, you are going to start with, you're going to start, because you normally, your time starts now. That was one of your things that you did on social media, which was fantastic. And you're going to do a little, your time starts now with Andrew and I.
Yeah, this we've had such fun with this year, asking people, putting them on the spot. Although this time I have actually given Warren and Andrew a list to look at. So we're going to put them on the spot and just find out how they fare. So you be the judge. Right, Warren, favorite movie?
I don't watch movies at all. I don't watch TV much. Only Teletrack, Racing 240, all day, all night, drives my poor family insane. The TV in the bedroom is on racing. But to answer the question, it wasn't really a movie, it was a series called Money Heist. I thoroughly enjoyed it. That was some time ago. That was the last thing I watched on TV.
Was that Netflix?
Netflix, yeah, Netflix. Money Heist. So to answer your question, Money Heist, but it's a series.
Andrew,
Me?
favorite movie?
I don't watch movies at all. The last movie I watched was probably about 1980. Apocalypse Now.
Okay. Warren, favorite holiday destination?
Without a doubt, Mauritius. And I would keep going back and keep going back. It's the best place in the world.
Andrew.
The bush where there's no people.
Favorite Durban July winner?
For me, have to be Teal, because it was my first July that I ever came to the races. I brought my mom with us, and we were on the grandstand, and I got hit over the head with a beer bottle because it was drunken disorderliness, and that's not the right word, disorderliness. People were drunken disorderly.
Yes.
And which is good because they always have a good party, and I got smashed on the head with a beer bottle.
Let's get to
that's the reason why I'm a little, little.
Okay, what about Teal himself?
But Teal, great, tiny little horse. The first July I've been to, made bombs on the horse, and Teal for the shore and
Gerudas.
Yeah, Teal, my favourite July winner.
Oh, Johnny Gerudas, didn't he ride it?
Yep, Johnny G.
Andrew.
Me, politician.
Politician.
You.
Good choice.
Not as old as Andrew. I'm one or two politicians I was around at his time.
Warren, what do you like to eat? Not food. Give me a specific thing.
Sure. Michelle?
Steak.
Not really. It's a strange one. I don't particularly have I will answer it for you, but I don't have a particularly favourite food. Maybe a traditional Mauritian meal called sausage rugai, rice and lentils. It's basically a very traditional, simple sausage, tomato and onion stew on a bed of rice with some lentils. So sausage rugai and rice and lentils.
It sounds delicious.
It's a traditional Mauritian meal.
Sounds expensive.
No, it's simple.
Okay, this is definitely not taking a minute each, which it's meant to.
Yeah.
But Andrew, what do you like to eat?
Baked beans.
Baked beans?
They've got to be coup.
Okay, well just let us know when you're going to eat them and we'll just close your door in the office.
Are you serious? Baked beans.
I love baked beans.
Warren, what's the first thing you grab for in the morning? And please just be respectful.
My false teeth. I mean, no, I haven't got false teeth.
Are you sure?
Sure. I might not be able to see, but I can certainly bite. No, my cell phone. It's a terrible answer but that's to check to see if anyone's message in the night, if everyone's safe. My cell phone.
Cool. Andrew.
Me, my hot pills.
That's what racing does to you, does it?
Gotta keep the blood pressure down.
Warren, your favourite sports team?
Mish, everyone will know that I'm not really a sporting person.
That's why you're involved in racing?
Yeah, I'm not really a sporting person, but it would have to be Portugal. Was it Portugal who won not this World Cup, the one before?
France.
No, and go back some more.
Spain.
No, was it not Portugal? Or didn't Portugal win?
Portugal haven't won the World Cup.
James Rich will have to tell us, but it was a soccer team. It was a soccer team.
Okay.
I forget the name, but I won a lot of money.
Okay.
So they'll have to be my favourite. But other than that, I've got no idea.
Me, mine are the Guppies.
The Guppies?
You know the Guppies?
The Guppies.
No, they play at King's Park.
He's insulting the shot. He's insulting.
They blow
Andrew,
hot
you
and
should
cold.
be shot. That's my
Yeah,
favourite sports team.
Yeah,
You
but they
should be
blow hot
shot.
and cold.
I'm going to message
Okay.
James and find out the name
Okay.
of
No,
Warren.
my son actually he's guiding in fishing guide in Seychelles at the moment, and he had Gary Tashman, one of his clients.
Yeah.
He doesn't cast very well.
Oh, really? Now you're letting out a few trade secrets, are you? Okay, we're going to switch this around to you then. Who's your biggest inspiration in life, Andrew?
Inspiration in life? No one inspires me.
He doesn't. He just insults everybody.
No, maybe he's his own inspiration.
Yeah, well, no. I just enjoy reading, so it'll probably
Authors?
Pardon?
Authors?
Authors, yeah. Tom McGrain and Jim Harrison are probably my two best.
And for you, Warren?
You
I suppose everybody's going to
What are your inspiration? Who inspires you?
You know, everyone's going to say, "Oh, what a soft answer, what a pathetic answer." But probably my mom, one of the two ladies in my life. My mom, she's had it tough. And she's just always pulled through. And my wife, I would say, because she's such a damn hard worker. I wish I could work as hard as her. Oh, shut up. So yeah, everyone's going to say, "Oh,
peanut gallery going here." Peanut gallery.
Wilbur Smith. So yeah, those are the two ladies that I think they work hard.
What are you watching on TV at the moment?
Teletrack racing, 240.
It's a silly question.
Geelong racing, yeah.
And I can vouch for that, because when Warren is in the office, everything here comes to a standstill. I think that the directors over on the other side can hear us from media for all the cheering and the shouting that goes on. You know that, hey, Andrew?
Yeah, well, I know. We had, when we first moved in here, we had the security came in to see if someone was being murdered.
And what do you watch, if anything?
I don't watch TV.
Okay.
I read a book.
All right, this is a bit of a dicey question, but what are you best known for outside of racing, Warren?
Making too much noise, playing the fool, and just being an irritation.
Can you confirm that, Andrew?
Yeah, boy.
And what are you best known for then?
Fishing.
Fishing. Look at Andrew's profile picture and you will know that that is true. Biggest fear?
I don't know if it's a fear, but I'm a very faithful person. I mean, we don't talk about religion and things, but a faithful person. And our biggest fear is I know what the afterlife is, but I don't know what the afterlife is like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest fear. You know, I know where I'm going and all the rest of it, but yeah, you know, when if there's a death in the family or a death within the racing industry, like there has been over the last couple, you just wonder, like, what's it like without that person? I have that fear of what's it like without that person, if that makes sense.
No, I understand.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear of, like, the unknown, if you could say.
Yeah.
Other than that, cockroaches. Bring a cockroach anywhere near me, I'm gone.
I'll remember that for
Yeah,
future.
Gone.
That-
I actually.
Well, that's why they come and spray every.
I nearly moved out of the house one night when a cockroach flew into our bedroom and I couldn't find it. I nearly checked into the Riverside Hotel because I was that petrified. Cockroaches, terrified.
Well, what do they call them in Gauteng? Parktown
Parktown
prawns or
prawns,
something
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Parktown prawns.
And for you, Andrew,
For
what's
me?
your biggest fear?
My betting account running out.
Gosh, he's had 40 rand in his betting account for the last 18 years.
I would have thought that may have been Warren's biggest fear.
But mine will never run out because I never use it.
Your favourite phrase or saying?
Phew. It's a bit rude. I don't know if we can say it on the podcast.
What?
No, I'm not going to say it.
Okay, go beep.
Um,
Leave the word out.
No, because the whole saying.
He's getting embarrassed. I don't often see Warren embarrassed. He's getting embarrassed. Look at him.
Favorite phrase. 90% of the things you worry about never happen.
That is true.
And that is so true. 90%
Good
of
life
the things
wisdom.
you worry about never happen.
I saw you blush.
Yes, so did I. I mean, it's
You're feeling all right.
very unusual.
Especially, can you open the window or something, please?
And Andrew, your favourite
I'll
phrase?
tell you the same as Warren's. Dilly gaff.
Oh, yeah,
Dilly
it is
gaff.
Dilly gaff, yeah. Now, what I'm saying, I'll go back to the other one's not so bad. It's a funny little joke because I always say, stop, I like it. You know,
Okay.
you do stop, I like it. It's like
Okay.
reverse the car backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dilly gaff. What does dilly gaff stand for?
Do you think?
Okay. Fill in the gaps.
Does it look like I give a...
Okay. Beep.
Next question.
Right. If you weren't working in racing, what would you be doing?
Well, I did 12 years in the hospitality trade in the hotel business, and I did enjoy it, but the last year didn't enjoy it, hence changing careers. So that's all I really know, to be quite frank with you. So if I wasn't in the horse racing industry, I'd be back in hotels, I suppose.
Okay.
Hospitality.
Okay.
Me, I'll be shaking a tin at the robots.
Or casting a hook into the ocean.
Yeah, I think that's more like you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you-
maybe, but you need money to fish these days.
All right. Well, we've given viewers an insight into the two of you.
And what about your turn now?
No.
you're gonna
I'm
get a top
out of
prize.
this now. I'm the one who could ask.
Andrew, you start, and we'll just alternate.
We'll ask the same questions.
Yeah.
Okay,
Michelle,
fair enough.
favourite movie?
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Wait, that's an old one.
Roald Dahl. I just love that.
Okay.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yes.
There was Roald Dahl. What's the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Who was there? There was a
Roald
movie
Dahl.
Charlie and the.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can read, Jesus.
I was forced to because it was a school book. Holiday destination.
I think I'm a bit like Andrew. I think African bush anywhere, far from the madding crowd.
Yeah. Okay, Andrew.
Oh. Okay, favourite Durban July winner?
Marinaresco.
That's the one where you were going.
Yes, exactly.
was.
You remember so well.
Yes.
Gee, you've got a good memory.
There's nothing
No,
wrong with
but
his memory.
I think he kind of encapsulated the courage and the tenacity of the thoroughbred, because the way he came through that field in the last couple of 100 meters to win, and his ears, I remember Bernard always saying his ears used to be flat back, and they were.
Yeah.
It's just the true
I
spirit
must
of
be
the
flat
thoroughbred.
back. You go, Bernard, bloody flapping your backside.
Well, I think he was such a little horse. He wasn't really much more than a pony in a way. And when Bernard was pushing him out, his hands went up to the horse's ears.
Yes.
If you go back and have a look,
Your favourite meal?
Not a meal. I love Turkish Delight,
Okay.
especially when you're in Turkey or in Bodrum and you buy Turkish Delight from the local markets and that. Absolutely
But
beautiful.
people
Nothing
don't
beats
like
it.
Turkish Delight. I think it's delicious. My nephew, I mean, because I talk about my nephew, a young person, the youngsters, something like Turkish Delight, I think hideous, but my little young nephew devours it. It is, I like Turkish
You
Delight.
get such variety over there as well. I mean, we're quite restricted here in terms of what we can get, but over there's every flavour additive in,
Okay.
divine.
Next, Andrew, fire away.
What's the first thing you grab in the morning?
Coffee. Give me coffee and nobody gets hurt. Everybody knows that in this office here. I live on coffee.
You're in shock,
Caffeine junkie, yes.
Look at him now, he's blushing.
Yes,
He's
he is. He's
blushing.
actually looking a bit like the colour of his hat.
Reflection on my head.
Oh gosh, okay, the next question is your favourite sports team?
Has to be the Sharks. I'm a good Shark
See, not the
supporter.
Guppies, Andrew.
Not the Guppies. We'll
Oh,
just
it
turn them
depends if they
into
win or lose. Yeah, if they lose, they call the guppies.
ragged tooth Guppies.
Who is your biggest inspiration in life?
I think probably Mother Teresa, actually, Mahatma Gandhi, even my father. He was an incredibly devout, humble man and influenced my life in every way possible. Yeah, special. A bit like your mum for you.
Yeah. TV, what's on the box at the moment for you?
I love reality shows, so at the moment it's Survivor Australia.
Okay.
Survivor Australia.
Yes.
Next up,
You
Andrew.
just like all the blokes with the muscles.
Yeah, maybe that too.
What are you best known for?
I think I never say die attitude.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that at the July Gallops when that trainer insulted her. I saw that never say die attitude. Brilliant.
Oh gosh.
Does it me next?
Yeah.
Biggest fear.
I don't know really, except that
If you've
maybe
gone
it's a
climbing
fear.
down the side of buildings, you have no fear.
Listen, I grew up in a family where 3 of my brothers were rock climbers. One was a springbuck skydiver. I think my mother prayed solidly, and somehow we are all still on planet Earth. But they were like Paul, my one brother, did the camel adventure back in the day, with Land Rover.
Rovers,
He and another South African represented the country. They went to Borneo, and they were actually second in the world. But I think my poor mother, no wonder she's so grey. But I think it would be perhaps fear of failure in a way.
Okay. And what's your favourite phrase? Not Billy Gaff.
I've been raised as a Catholic in quite a devout family, and my dad had a saying which I've kind of taken on as my own, in that there but for the grace of God go I. And it's something I carry in my heart.
Yeah.
Believe it.
Absolutely.
Oh, we're getting serious now.
Yeah.
Well, we've got to get a little serious. And if you weren't in racing or you weren't in horses, what would you be doing?
I think I would be running a game lodge in East Africa, maybe Kenya or Tanzania.
And you and your wife and your family would frequent that game lodge often because you just love the bush.
I'd go to the swamps. The swamps.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
I think East Africa is beautiful.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about the news story of the year. In your opinion, of this 2022, it's so hard when you've got to try and, 22, you've been saying 2022 for the whole year, now you've got to change over to 23, like Hollywood Bets Greyville, the Vodacom Durban July to Hollywood Durban July. It takes time to get used
Hollywood
to.
Bets Durban July.
Hollywood Bets Durban July. Now,
Yes.
what would you say was the biggest news outbreak or breaking in this year?
I think Hollywood Bets coming on board into racing in the way that they did here in KZN and now in the Cape with Greg Bortz. I think we've seen such change in the industry this year, positive change, and there's a sense of hope for a better future coming into 2023, and we've seen that with that last race meeting this last weekend. So yeah, I think what has been done is wonderful for the sport and not a moment too late.
Yeah, I think it was also an indication that Ricky Mangod's deserting Mauritius to come back.
Yes,
I don't know if
exactly.
is he. I haven't read any articles. Is he deserting?
Well, no, he's still keeping it at stable
Yeah.
there, but he's setting up in Cape Town now.
Is he going to? Because I spoke to his brother who was unwell when I was in
His
Joburg.
name Manuel.
No, his name is Patrick. He's unwell. I was under the impression that it was just for the season, but is he going to hopefully be here for a bit longer permanently, you say?
Yeah, no, he's got 32 stables at Milnerton.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. That's excellent
Yeah.
news. Stupid question. Maybe it is a stupid question, but somebody actually posed that question to me and I didn't know how to answer. But obviously, the fact that he's licensed and training in South Africa, it's obviously legal, because can you hold a trainer's license in Mauritius and in South Africa? Well, obviously,
Why not?
because, I don't know. They were saying, how can you
Well,
hold
it's the same as all those shuttle blokes from Ireland to Australia and Mike de Kock going to Hong Kong.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Dubai, it's
yeah,
exactly
yeah,
the same
Yes,
thing,
good
yeah.
point, good point.
But what about for you? What's been the news story of the year for you, Warren?
There were quite a couple of good ones, big ones. Obviously, that's outstanding. And I think, obviously, the shattering news that Paul Peter, our South African
Yeah.
champion trainer, threw in the towel. But there's good news off that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's good news off that his son Tony's taken out his license, and actually had a word with him just the other day. They've got 9 horses already in training. And when I asked Paul on the telephone, how's things, he said nothing's changed. He says that his son's gone off on a few days holiday, and the roles have been reversed, and he's the assistant and he's doing the work until his son gets back from holiday,
How
and he
wonderful.
will continue. But nice for young Tony.
Yeah,
Young Tony.
that's wonderful.
You know, when you
Lots
get
of
horse
support.
people like that, you need them in the industry. You really
Yeah.
do, because they're top quality horse people.
Yeah.
Anything else that we can talk about? Big news?
Well, not sort of nationally, but locally, I think Blue Sky Thoroughbreds, Bruce Lee
Yeah.
Tennis
yeah, they're joined up.
They've joined up and it's excellent for KZN racing.
Yeah.
as far as I'm
Absolutely.
concerned,
Yeah.
because we were running a bit thin on the ground as far as local.
But you know,
breeders
also,
are
yeah, but also at the recent KZN Breeders' Awards, because KZN always gets knocked, the awards were good. Their farms are good. Their prospects are good. They've got, a couple of stallions that are being well supported. KZN Racing's holding its own. So, yeah, you're quite right. The KZN breeders have done well, and have the South African breeders. But just in particular, you're talking about KZN.
From
Yeah,
locally,
you're quite
yeah.
right. Locally, yeah, absolutely. Who do you think, again, in your opinion, for you was the best performance of the year? Race, best horse performance, or best race, or best finish, or best ride?
Yeah, Michelle asked earlier, and I really couldn't think of anything. So just recently, obviously, last Saturday with Charles Dickens, it was an exceptional performance, I thought. Yeah.
I saw a ride, and I can't remember the horse's name, but I know it was at the Val, not so long ago, in the Werner's colours. Keegan de Mello was on a horse that was really under pressure, and I don't know what he did. He ducked in, changed his stick, and he just got this horse to lift, and it was like watching a rugby player score the most fantastic try. I'm not suggesting that was the performance of the year. I'm just talking about things that we can remember. You battling to remember a performance. That was a phenomenal ride. That was good. Obviously, Charles Dickens' win was outstanding. Those performances. Captain's Ransom. Her performances are also outstanding. Though she looked dead in the water and just.
Yeah, the SA really sprinted Scottsville was
and I remember talking to Richard about that, and he just said it's like sitting on a car that's just idling and just all of a sudden pushes the accelerator, and you win the race and you take your foot off the accelerator. He said it was just, she just tried for 15 seconds, got the race won, and that was it. So that was also a performance of, and you, Mish, I mean, there's lots when you think of it, really.
There are quite a few, but for me, I think Sparkling Waters win in the Hollywood Bets Durban July. The way that she won, running away from the field and by that kind of margin, we haven't seen for many years. I think the last horse who won by that kind of distance was Gray's Inn. More recently, we all remember, but yes, Charles Dickens, you talk about Captain's Ransom's turn of foot. The way he quickens is just phenomenal. And Mark de Kock said, 23 years ago, Horse Chestnut was there, and he's kind of even speaking about the horse in the same sentence as Horse Chestnut. But also, I think, let's not forget performances earlier in the year, like Comedy Dung in the Met in January. We haven't had a horse in this country yet who has won our 3 flagship races, Summer Cup, Met, and Durban July. We've had horses who have won 2, which Comedy Dung did by winning the Met in January. But there's almost an opportunity, and it was put to me by Joey Soma a couple of months ago, that we've almost got like a triple crown of our flagship races there to see if a horse can actually win those 3. And with trainers traveling horses now more, there seems to be, especially with what's happened in KZN and now with horses traveling to the Cape, maybe trainers are going to travel their big horses around the country a lot more than what they have been doing. So maybe we have something here that might be good as a marketing opportunity.
It would be a good Triple Crown, but I suggest that you'd have to come July Summer Cup Met. You can't go Met Summer Cup.
Yes.
Way around, because I don't know, you travel up from Cape Town, you're not hiding for nothing. So,
but you could switch it around. You could switch it around in terms of the order.
No, sure, but you have to win it in the same season, basically. Well,
almost. I understand what you're saying. Hollywood Bets Guineas race meeting just the other day. How brilliant was that? I mean, we've spoken about Charles Dickens' performance. I'm talking about the whole day, the television production, the everything was just unbelievable. To see the crowds, I couldn't believe it. Until they actually panned across and showed some footage of the crowds. Lots of people, and of course you read on social media, say, they're not all racing people. Doesn't matter. It's about, because they're now going to go and tell their friends, we went to Hollywood Bets Kenilworth, the atmosphere was electric, there was music, there was dancing, there was racing, there was everything. And eventually those that come there just to socialise are going to have a bet, and that bug will bite. But it was great, it really was top class.
And I thought MJ Baileyfeld did an outstanding job.
Absolutely.
I didn't think he'd crack it, being a good Dutchman. But he did exceptionally well.
He certainly did, MJ Baileyfeld. He knows his horses and he's a great human being.
It's also about exposing racing, and I think, by bringing the street carnival to Kenilworth, yes, a lot of those people probably haven't been exposed to racing, but that's how we are trying to perhaps increase our footprint. And some of those people might be interested and become customers and followers of the sport. So yes, I think it was fantastic. I think it's good
too, because I think for many years, I don't know what the situation was, but they seemed to chase away the coloured punters. I think they lost interest. We bring them back on course, they're really good fun.
They're good, absolutely.
They make horse racing.
Yeah, they do.
When they're perched around the paddock and they're chirping jockeys, you just just different class.
Let's talk about the soccer final on Sunday night. Again, everyone knows I'm not a big sports fan, but that was exciting.
I'm not a great football follower, but I can promise you I was sitting on the edge of my sofa watching. And in fact, when it went into extra time and then penalty shootout, I actually turned the volume down. I was just so anxious and nervous. And I've become a Messi fan overnight. I think Mbebe also winning the Golden Boot was fantastic. And to see the French president there, Emmanuel Macron, and so involved in the game and cheering his side on, I just thought it was a real celebration of sport and just a fantastic occasion.
Meanwhile, you were singing up on the hill, "Hello Darkness, my old friend." You saw nothing.
Yeah.
And it was funny, my son was watching in the socials, and he said they were watching with a French commentary. This is sort of every 10 minutes they had a song, like singing an anthem. It was hilarious.
Can you believe I went to Hollywood Bets Kingsmead on the public holiday, and I went and watched the cricket? Can you believe so? They were mortified on the grandstand when I said how many goals have been scored, but they still let me stay. And I tell you, Hollywood Bets Kingsmead, I've been in Durban my whole life, or most of my life. I've never been into that stadium. Lovely, lovely cricket stadium, and it was such good fun. And you'd think that, you know, you won't be able to see because they're obviously in the middle and you so far. It was excellent, the way they've made everything, the way they've positioned, obviously, the stands, and it was just outstanding. I really enjoyed it.
Hollywood obviously do a good job, because I watched on television, and usually you go to those games and there's no one there. But there were quite a few.
There were quite a few there. In fact, I was with some of the Hollywood staff, and they were saying that they go to the cricket fairly often, and they were impressed with the turnout. And they were saying that in January now, that 2020 or something is starting in January, and it's obviously comes at you quicker and faster, and it'll be even more vibey, so that'll be nice. It's Christmas time, and it's presents always. Have you been treated to some wonderful gifts? Like I have Hollywood, you must have received your gift from Hollywood.
No, Hollywood, they always give us a
How's that gift?
But there's been a train of people coming in through the door here in the media centre with gifts for you, Warren. What's this all about?
Well, when you know, what can I say? I mean, what can I say? I mean, it's when you're deserving of gifts, you're deserving of gifts. I mean,
we've had to keep phoning Warren to tell him to please come and collect, because there's been another delivery for him.
Absolutely.
Another lot of gifts, all beautifully wrapped.
The Miller Racing Stable look after you. The Gold Circle look after us. They give us. You got your lovely eats and things from them. Hollywood, John Freeman. The gifts just come flying through for Christmas. But I think I don't know if they're Christmas gifts or birthday gifts, because I'm close to Christmas.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Like how close?
Very close, like one day after Christmas.
Oh wow!
I was nearly a Christmas baby. But thank you to everybody for their gifts. Andrew's Hollywood gifts. Everybody that have received gifts that sent through to us, we thank you.
Did you declare them?
Yes, I'm declaring them now. Just told everybody we've got lovely gifts, a bottle of wine, a box of treats from Hollywood.
Well, since I'm the boss, I might have you up. HR disciplinary.
So we're close to the new year as well. So not in terms of birthdays. What wishes do you have for 2023? Are you a resolution?
Not really. Hey, never. No. I've never sort of been at 5 minutes to midnight saying I'm having my last cigarette, or I'm never going to drink again, or I wouldn't be that batty. But no, I'm not a New Year's resolution person. No, I make no resolution.
Andrew, and yourself?
No, I've tried to give up beer for the last 25 years. But
he's still trying.
I think you've just got to concede defeat then.
I have.
Okay.
He's been trying to give up for the last 25 years. He's conceded defeat 22 years ago. But no, not.
What wishes do you have for perhaps racing going into the new year?
My wishes for racing is that we can just prosper some more, and everybody get on and get on, and just everyone's trying to earn a living, everyone's trying to do their very best, and just do it for the betterment of horse racing. Throw the egos away. Other wish I suppose I'd have is that our families and friends are always safe and healthy.
Absolutely.
And just those kind of things, racing to prosper, and everyone just to get on and do what we have to do, because it's without racing, none of us, no matter who you are, without the racehorse and without racing, we're all in the dwang. So I just want that. I want everyone to really just enjoy one another's company and get on well, and I want our family and friends and colleagues to be well.
That's well said. And for you, Andrew?
Stakes increase.
Okay.
Shouting for the trainers.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think we've seen quite a lot of positivity this year, and it's encouraging, to kind of bank that going into the new year. And I agree with you, Warren. I think there has to be some kind of meeting of minds at some stage, and we all kind of pull in the same direction for the betterment and the future of the sport.
You talk about stakes increase. I had a debate with somebody the other day. I'm a very small racehorse owner, and everybody's opinion is different. Now, whether you're a small racehorse owner or a big racehorse owner, we all need it in the industry. But yes, a lot of people go on about stakes, etc. I understand that. But to be quite frank with you, somebody said, if you balanced up your balance sheet from your punting, from your owning, I don't want to do any of that. The stakes are what they are. I'm racing for the stakes. Yes, obviously you don't want to invest in a whole racehorse and do your money. But 9 times out of 10, You know, it's tough. So for me, whether the stakes are up, down, in between, wait a little bit, it doesn't really. He thought I was batty, you know. But he's racing predominantly. It's all about the stakes. Well, for me, it's not all about the stakes. It's about the enjoyment, the pleasure. It's my entertainment. When you go and play golf, you know, if you're a golfer and it's cost you 1,200 rand to play 18 holes of golf, and in 2 months' time it's going to cost you 1,900 rand. Please believe me, if you've got the cash, you're still going to go and play the golf. So it doesn't really bother me.
I know, but I think with low stakes, it impacts all the way down the food chain.
Fair enough. I respect that and I understand that.
It's not just the owner. You're looking at grooms and everybody else.
Please don't get me wrong. I fully understand that. And the owners, as I said, I'm a small fry with my little 10% and 15%.
So why do you always whinge when your horse doesn't run?
Because they must run.
I speak to your trainers.
Yeah, they must run.
Because they say you're a bloody whinger.
Yeah, because they must run. You know, what's the point of having...
How can I run if it's only got 3 legs?
Yeah.
Do you know how to pick a horse that it needs 4 legs? And don't confuse the tail for a leg or something like that.
Please believe me, some of the best horses we've owned have had the worst conformation I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The worst knees. But be that as it may, no, they must run. If they're fit and well, they must run. I understand the program is sometimes doesn't suit everybody, but they must run. You wouldn't like to pay for a car, a nice Mercedes-Benz that just sits in the garage, would you?
Well, if I could afford it, yes.
Anyway, that's the point I'm making. Every owner, some owner who's got 100 horses in training, of course it's about stakes because it costs them a lot more. But I'm sure that stakes will come right, everything will come out. And let's be positive and let's be hopeful.
Absolutely.
Sponsors. Score 10 and Score 6, thank you to them. Get your bets on at Tab Gold. All your bets. There's greyhound racing, there's card call, there's so many different types of bets you can get involved with, but in particular Score 6 and Score 10 soccer bets, get your bets on it. Also, I think sponsors in general need a shout out, Mish, because all our sponsors that sponsor the races, sponsor race days, the charities, we haven't got time to because we've got an 11 o'clock meeting, but really we've had a lot of sponsors get behind racing this past year.
We have, and we're very grateful for them. We need every bit of help that we can get, and hopefully we're giving as much coverage and publicity to them as well for their investment and involvement.
Yeah, no, we need to punt the sponsors.
Where we going for lunch?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, the Butcher's Block or something.
Butcher's Block. Okay.
This has been the talk for the last 2 weeks.
Where
we going for Christmas lunch? So
that's up next after our meeting, Christmas lunch. It's also, I must say, a big shout out to Tawanda Talavinga and his team. Come here, Tawanda. Come and show your face on television.
Yay,
Here's Tawanda Talavinga. He's also been part of the team. How do you put up with all our nonsense? You love it, man. Thursdays is your highlight.
I've got 5 years experience.
5 years experience.
With Warren and Andrew.
You've been there 5 years already.
I think so, yeah.
Who was the guy that actually introduced you to this company?
I don't know, some buffoon bloke who...
Sitting with a Father Christmas hat on his head.
Now, let's get Apiwe onto the screen. Come on, Apiwe. No, come up, Apiwe. Please come. No, we're not
He's
taking
going to knock everything down here.
He can come along slowly. So our whole team is Apiwe, Tawanda. There's Nina, if I've pronounced that correctly. There's Lucky. And here is Apiwe. Get your face on the camera. Make sure you can see him. There he is, the guy, one of the guys behind the scenes, and really just from Vinga Media. They are part of Vinga Media and Gold Circle, and they do a fantastic job. They put up with us, and they make us look good and sound good. So that's to them. We wish them all the very best. And Andrew, we're taking a break. Where's the calendar? Mish, here's a calendar. Let's just give everybody the dates. Some people are probably saying, yes, we won't have to hear from them for a little while. Some people are saying, we're going to miss them. What do you think they're saying?
No, I think they're going to miss you. You their fix for the week.
Okay, I can't work that camera, that calendar. Let's just go digitally here and let's tell everybody. And by the way, that soccer team that I've fancied.
Yes, have you?
Yeah, it was Portugal.
Oh, it was Portugal.
When they won the Euros many years ago. Do you remember that?
They won the Champions League.
Champions League.
Was it Champions League?
I think it was the Euro. Yeah.
It was years ago. Okay, so to tell the viewers, today is Tuesday the 20th, and we normally record on Thursdays, but because I'm going on a 2-day break, 2 days in the Midlands.
I haven't signed off yet.
Well, I sent it to you yesterday. I mean, you take a long time to sign things off. He just does it in his time, Mish. There's
Yeah,
three sets of leave.
I think you need to speak very nicely to the boss.
No. He's different division. Okay, so we're recording Tuesday the 20th. The next time you'll hear from us is in January on Thursday the 12th. So we're taking a bit of a break Thursday the 12th because there's not only Andrew now that have got to rest, there's all our guests that have got to rest, all the staff behind the scenes. So Thursday the 12th is when we will launch into 2023. So all that's left is for us to wish everybody well. Thanks to Michelle for being with us and having fun with us, your mad colleagues in the office.
It's been a blast.
Yeah, it has been a good time. And
When are you going to infest the Kruger?
no, that's only late January. That's only late January.
Late January.
I've got 3 little holidays coming up. I'm very excited. Don't you chirp because you seem retired, so you're allowed to be on holiday most of the time. We've got the Midlands for 2 nights. We've got Margate for 2 nights, and then I'm going to infest the Kruger National Park late January. I've never been. Have you been to the Kruger? Must be.
A lot. Yeah.
I've never been. I'm so excited. I don't know what. I mean, it's because you can't comprehend, and I'm told it's massive. You know, you think. And when I looked at the map yesterday, I didn't realise. You know, you look at where Joburg is. I thought it was actually up to the left of Joburg, but it's not. It's up to the right side, above sort of Richards Bay, if that makes sense.
Top end as well.
Top end, yeah, absolutely.
And
So
you're a big bird watcher, aren't
I'm
you?
a big bird watcher.
Bird watcher.
Absolutely, the feathered kind. Absolutely, the feathered kind. And I look forward to that. So it's going to be great. But that's a wrap from all of us. Anything else to add before we close up? Just a happy Christmas to everybody.
Yeah, peaceful and blessed Christmas to everyone, and everyone be safe, enjoy time with family, and look forward to seeing everybody in the new year.
Absolutely. You're happy we're going on just a little bit of a break?
Yeah.
Yeah, but nice to see you. Always grumpy and moaning, and we're under pressure, and it's too late, and you can't even put your Christmas hat on properly.
I think that Christmas hat suits Andrew so well.
And it does.
Yeah. No, you mustn't push it back. You must keep it nice and...
Don't go home like that. Your wife will be furious. She's upset that you're wearing shorts and slops. Can you imagine going home looking like that? She'll think she's being robbed.
Look, I got slops on. I'm wearing Alamites for a change.
Andy, all the best. We'll be obviously
Yeah.
there's still work to be done in between a few days off, and we'll be doing it. But that's all the best. Everyone, have a happy Christmas. It's been a fabulous time with Michelle. We're off to an 11 o'clock meeting, and then we're going to have a delicious lunch. And don't worry, we will get the race card out for you this afternoon as well, so you can get your bets on timelessly. From all of us at In the Box Seat, Michele Wing, Andrew Harrison, the whole team, happy Christmas, all the best for the new year, and we will see you on the 12th of January. But before then, as always, in the number 1 box. Thank you for watching this week's episode of In the Box Seat podcast right until the very end. We hope that you enjoyed it because we certainly did. If you missed last week's podcast, In the Box Seat podcast with Andrew and myself, please go and watch it here. And last week's episode will be right there for you to go and enjoy and watch, as we know you will certainly enjoy In the Box Seat podcast from last week.